and see what's happening. The British player has some of his troops hidden up here, so you can't see all of his troops, but they're in this forest. And I moved my tiradores de Cantabria out to the flank there to hopefully take some flanking shots at his rifles that are in here. And I didn't notice that I just left my my 6-pound artillery just absolutely wide open to his rifles. And so they're getting hit by howitzer rounds and also being sniped by the British rifles. So this is the end of my horse artillery unit here, for the most part. By the time I realize that I should have pulled them out, it's far too late. And my men are taking shots, but they're not very good shots because I don't have them in a very good position. Now, these Highland Foot that my opponent is using up here on top of the hill, these are quite excellent melee units, and I was trying to get a rear charge on them here with my Lanceros, but he formed square at the last second, quite skillfully, and so I'm going to have to retreat in order to try and minimize my losses. But you usually don't get away from this kind of thing without, you know, at least 5 to 10 losses. But I do get out of there, and I save my Lancers for another day. Or should I say another day? I mean later on in this battle. And of course his Highland Foot now are trying to shoot at my men behind this hill, and that's just a waste of their ammunition, so that's fine with me. So my Lancers are far back in the background now. Hopefully my opponent forgets about them. I'm also, here's my 6-pound horse artillery running off. I've pulled my Dragoons on this flank over to here, and I'm moving up some light infantry and also my Walloon Guards here. Let's take a look at the Walloon Guards. The Walloon Guards are an excellent unit, and of course that's why he's targeting them with his howitzer. There they go there. Walloon Guards are probably one of the toughest guard units in the game, or at least they used to be in Empire Total War. I don't know about now. And here I thought I was going to be smart and charge his rifles right out of these woods, but I didn't realize that his Highland Foot was so close because they had been previously hidden. And I make a fool mistake here, and I do charge his rifles, but also his Highland Foot makes mincemeat out of my Dragoons. And I thought all this time, because I was paying attention elsewhere, that my Dragoons were fighting his rifles, but I was completely incorrect. So, yeah. Anyway, I think I rout his, let's see, there goes, yeah, his unit of rifles routed. They'd probably come back. But my Dragoons just get absolutely plastered by his Highland Foot there, and that was a complete, total mistake. And I accidentally moved up these light infantry too smart as well. But here I got a sweet rear charge into these Highland Foot with my Lanceros in diamond formation, and I really expected it to cause a lot more damage. I guess it did cause a pretty good deal of damage. About 16 men were killed. And yeah, it looks like that, yeah, well I guess overall I'm going to end up getting about 25 or so. So that was definitely worth it because these Highland Foot are so tough. And the shock of it ended up routing them. So that's what happens when Lancers get a good clean downhill charge on infantry that aren't in square. Of course these infantry are in square, and they're going to be taking a further toll on my Lanceros that are now down to 16 men. But on this flank my opponent only has this last unit of Highland Foot. And by the way, this battle is quite long. I continued my artillery fire and my opponent as well, and we kind of skirmished over this hill. Part of the reason I'm showing this battle is because I liked it. It's kind of a multi-phase battle. Actually seemed a little bit more historic to me. Because if you study battles in this general time period, it seems like there was usually some kind of skirmishing phase, and then one, you know, an enemy would make a push on a certain part of the battlefield, and usually resulted in, you know, in further action or, you know, overall decisive action. Anyway, here's my Walloon Guards just plowing this square of Highland Foot. They've been absolutely shredded down to 66 men. And I did lose this unit of light infantry here because this unit of Highland Foot charged down the hill at me. And I need to get rid of these guys quick because my Walloon Guard's flank is being threatened by this other unit. And there they rout. But that's why I pulled up this unit of Tiradors and also this unit of Fusilier, and that scares off these Highland Foot as well. And they do come back from routing, but I'm able to pretty quickly dispatch them a second time. And again, I'm going to stop recording and come back for the final phase of this battle. Well, I said I was going to stop recording. Let me show you the fate of my Lanceros here, real quick, before we get into the final phase. I charged them out and around my opponent's rifles, because I just saw them fire a volley, and I was trying to get in and do some damage. And I do get in here, around his stakes, which he has set up, and I go ahead and charge into his rifles. And I'm going to cause some further damage to him there, but I know that my Lanceros are pretty much dead at this point. So there was their gallant demise. Here we are several minutes later, and basically I picked apart my opponent's ability to have skirmishers. He does have his artillery, but like I said, I picked off most of his skirmishers, and now that he has no cavalry, I'm simply enveloping his fortified position on the hill. My opponent no longer has enough troops to hold the hill because of me destroying his 3 units of Highland Foot. So my opponent took a gamble when he sent those Highland Foot piecemeal. He took the gamble of sending them in unsupported, and basically hoping that they would gather all my attention, and then I imagine he would have marched the rest of his army up. However, I think he probably would have had better luck if he marched in those 3 Highland Foot and moved up the remainder of his foot troops, as the British foot are probably better than the Spanish foot. When I say probably, I mean almost definitely, with the exception of my Walloon Guards, of course. So if you look at the battle map, you can see I'm the blue color there, and I'm enveloping my enemy on this hill, and he's going to make his final stand up here where he thinks that he is the most well defended. There was a cannon shot there that took out many of those men. That was pretty cool looking. And at this point, he's skirmishing with my skirmishers, and I'm moving up my line infantry as well. And I've got a unit of Fusilier and my other unit of Walloon Guard, or I thought I had my other unit of Walloon Guards out here. Huh. Oh yeah, here they are, running through the woods. Here's my other unit of Walloon Guards, and these guys are going to get up here on the hill and start kicking some butt. The guard units definitely help. Your units kind of stay in the fight longer and give your men better morale, and then they demoralize the enemy at the same time. So here's his foot getting pretty well chewed up by the large part of my force. Here in the center, his rifles are trying to hold out against regular line infantry, and that certainly won't last forever. And also up here you can see his line infantry getting torn to bits by different light infantry units and heavy infantry units that I'm sending in. And here's the remnants of my infantry that was on that hill. I'm now running them down to try and get there to assist in time in this battle. Now British troops are top quality, and so you can't write them off even in this position. My opponent had a chance to win, but because of my complete and total envelopment, his chances are greatly reduced. So here's my Walloon Guards. Let's watch their volley. There's his British foot firing off, and soon will be the return fire from my Walloon Guards. Looks like they're about in position. Taking longer than I thought it did for some reason. Here they come. Yeah, sometimes it takes your men a minute to get in position and start firing. It's kind of annoying. Alright, there comes their volley. And if you look at that, you just saw like you know, a huge chunk of this unit just drop out, and that shows you the devastating accuracy of a guard unit. And whenever they let off an entire volley like that, I mean, just the amount of damage that it causes. So now my Walloon Guards are in position, and I also have Fusilier backing them up. So this unit of British foot is just going to get absolutely minced. You can see their numbers dropping quickly now. There comes another volley from my Walloon Guards, and once again, you know, the numbers drop quickly. Anyway, that was kind of a cool firefight. I love the effects on Napoleon Total War. Looks really nice. And he did bring this unit of foot. He starts getting some decent shots on my Walloon Guards, and also he charges in the remnants of his general's bodyguard. And in case you didn't know it, Walloon Guards are also quite good at flying, as you just saw some of them. But I didn't bother putting them in square. I didn't figure they'd take that many casualties. They took more than I thought, but that's because, I guess, even though there weren't many of them, the general's bodyguard is heavy cavalry, and it did come downhill. So it did end up causing a great deal of casualties. But now the British army is pretty much in full retreat. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the results screen. There's the last view of the carnage I'll give you there. The British troops being routed off their hill. Alright, here's the results screen. You can see that I deployed a whole lot more men than my opponent, and that's to be expected since I was playing as Spain and British units are generally more expensive and higher quality. I suffered 754 losses, my opponent suffered 909, so a lot of men escaped the battlefield from my opponent. So it wasn't necessarily a crushing defeat on my that I dealt him. It was more of a close victory for me. And here's the number of enemy killed by me and my opponent. Here's my unit statistics in case you're interested. I don't think any of my units did particularly valiant except for this one unit of Walloon Guards here, and they got 131 kills, so they did quite well. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it gives you a little bit of an overview of what to expect in the Peninsular Campaign expansion. I would recommend it for only $9 American. or I should say 10, I guess, really. It's not a bad expansion, and Spain really gets a difference in gameplay, and I've been playing the campaign, and it's quite fun as well, so I would recommend it.